The council
City
members
Council
met
meeting for
at
tonight.
12:30
Let's go ahead and
conference room.
join them. They are
To
in
discuss
studio.
tonight's agenda, the city council is conducting the council meeting in person with an option for the public to join us here in the meeting chambers to participate via Zoom or view on BCAT. We encourage community input. To commemorate the council's return to meeting together in person for our first regular council meeting since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic back in March 2020. I'd like to acknowledge Keith Potter, District Commissioner for the Boy Scouts of America Kitsap District, for his assistance in arranging the Boy Scouts of America troop number 1506 from Tracyton to be here tonight. And now I'd like to invite them to perform the opening flag ceremony, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First up tonight, we have the mayor's report. Mayor Wheeler.
All right, so good evening, Council President, members of the City Council. It's good to see you. As Council President said, it's been a while since we've been together, and for 5 of you, it's the first time on this dais, which is it's really nice to see you up here. So I have a brief presentation tonight, Mayor's report, and I'll get right to it. Okay, just a brief update on this effort here. The latest endorsement we've received for fast ferries to temporarily backfill the Washington State ferry system is from the International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers. So this letter is in the governor's office, and the governor is reviewing our proposal. So I will let you know as soon as I hear anything. So just a lot of community support. I'm really proud of how we've come together as a community on this one. Next slide, please. So tonight you'll receive my budget proposal. It'll be late this evening. You'll get the first crack at it. And then I will start tomorrow presenting it and make sure it's available to all of our media channels to the public for their input. So look forward to working with you over the next month or so for the city of Bremerton. All right, next slide, please. So this is something I wanted to, since this is our first meeting, these are the things we've been missing, is the public acknowledgement of excellent work by our city staff. So Eric Burris, if you could come up here, and maybe Director Nucky, I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then this is what we received from the Washington State Department of Ecology. So this recognizes the exemplary effort and work accomplished by the city of Bremerton and the dedicated team at the Bremerton Wastewater Treatment Plant. Thank you for protecting and keeping Washington's waters clean. This is from the Department of Ecology. So it's an outstanding performance award for 2021. So thank you. So Eric, if you'd like to say a few words, please.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I just would like to give some recognition to wastewater treatment plant staff for whom without this would not be possible. They do a very good job. They're a very dedicated crew. Proof's in the pudding. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Council. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Next, we will go to the consent agenda.
Thank you, President Goodnow. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. Claims and check register. One, check numbers 400-111 through 400-304, and electronic fund transfers V36083 through V36177, and the grand total amount of $3,217,284.62. Two, regular payroll for pay period ending September 30th, 2022, and the amount of $989,250.04. Three, regular payroll payouts for pay period ending September 30th, 2022, and the amount of $11,895.28. B, minutes of meeting October 5th, 2022. C, minutes of study session October 12th, 2022. D, purchase of 2 new 2023 North Star paramedic ambulances and 1 remounted refurbished 2015 North Star paramedic ambulance from Braun Northwest Inc. E, confirm appointment of Jim McDonald to the Parks and Recreation Commission. And F, confirm appointment of Catherine Weigel to the Parks and Recreation Commission. This concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on any one of these items? It looks like Jim McDonald is online, although Jim, we're happy to let you, I was going to invite you to speak to the council and the public after the vote. Do you want to speak before the vote?
I wanted to thank Mayor Wheeler and the council for giving me this opportunity to serve the city again. And I'm just excited to work with the Parks Commission, Colette and Jeff again, and just excited to be part of Bremerton again. So thank you for the opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment on these items? We will go to the council for a motion.
Thank you, President Goodnow. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I call for the question.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Oh, hold on.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Mochler, and let's see, Younger,
Yes.
and Goodnow.
Yes.
Thank you.
All
Motion
right.
carries unanimously.
So we're learning some new technology. So I would like to invite Catherine Weigel, if she'd like to say anything, the opportunity to come to the microphone. Okay, then we're great. So both Catherine and Jim, thank you so much for your service to the city of Bremerton. Okay, up next is public recognition. As noted on the agenda, public recognition provides an opportunity for attendees to address the council on any city-related item that is not already listed on tonight's agenda. Please come up to the podium participating via Zoom, raise your hand to be recognized. It's okay to queue up in the aisle. We only ask that you state your name for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. We will use a timer so that everyone is treated equally. With that, I will open public recognition.
Hello, I'm Jane Rebelowski. I live on 17th Street in Bremerton. There's several things that I wanted to bring to your attention. Number one, Washington Avenue sidewalks and travel lanes still are not open. It's been just about 3 years now. The last time I talked to the development department, they promised that by September, and it doesn't even look like they've started pouring sidewalk and there's still crane there. We shouldn't block up, give away public access for that long to anybody. The next thing is I hope you're gonna have some public meetings again to discuss the tax break that we're giving to developers who are mostly building luxury apartments. There's an unbelievable housing crisis. You're not going to have anybody to work in your restaurants, your baristas, let alone people who are teachers, firefighters, city workers live here because we're giving away so much money to developers who are making plenty of money. And then my last point that I'd like to make again is we need some public toilets that are available 24 hours a day. I've sent in a proposal that would cost $800 for one unit. 800. I mean, this is unbelievable that we treat people this inhumanely in our city. And I hope that you move forward with some public toilets that are accessible 24 hours a day. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Paul Dudke. I'm hearing impaired somewhat. I have hearing aids, and the audio right now is excellent. I can hear everything, but last week at the study session, I really couldn't hear a lot of what was said. So I'm just requesting that whatever technology you're using right now, if you could use it with other public meetings, it would be terrific. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. I think we are getting better at this technology each time we use it. So thanks for letting us know. Okay, is there anyone else for a public recognition? All right. I lost track. With that, we will.
President Goodnow.
Oh, it wasn't there a second ago. I'll call on Joe Walter.
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you.
Great. Joe Walter. Going to try and squeeze two separate things into my 3 minutes, so I'll talk a little fast. I have learned that Bremerton offers a 40% discount to low-income seniors 62 and older for their water bill. But I'm 66 now, and I didn't know. I'm presently facing water bills of more than $200 a month because I'm paying off the bills I couldn't pay when COVID closed my school. Had I known that this discount was available, I could have saved literally thousands of dollars, and there's no retroactive discount. How many other poor old people don't know about this? Please change the policy so that people are better informed. When I asked the water department clerk about it, her answer was that it's on the website. Please put some effort into helping people by informing them more directly. And the other item is water related. And yes, I'm talking about toilets on MLK Way. This is yet another reminder that many, if not most of the stakeholders will be meeting on Wednesday, October 26th to find a solution to problems of public health and safety on MLK Way. That's pretty broad. And the primary issue that we're going to tackle is how to end the poop and pee problem in the neighborhood. It's disgusting, it's not safe, and it is humiliating for people not to have a place where they can take care of their bodily functions with some degree of dignity. The budget is complex and it will try to address many community needs and goals, but looking after the basic needs of our most vulnerable people comes first. That's just the bottom line. We don't sacrifice basic needs for these people for anything. We will be bringing you solutions, and we must, with so many professionals and volunteers and people with lived experience as homeless members of our community, we can and will figure this out. And you and our budget will be part of the solution. So please earmark some real money for a program to get toilet facilities downtown. Maybe run a pilot program, at least to get folks through the winter. And how will the timing work with the budget presented now and our meeting on the 26th and time for workshopping and public comment and a final approved budget ready early in November? This should be manageable even if the answers aren't fully fleshed out by then. Make a fund to solve the problem and develop the program as we go. I know that you're all wanting an answer to this chronic problem, and you will have many competent people working on it for you on October 26th. Hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Christy Lyson.
Hello. I am want to echo Joe's comments about earmarking some funds from the city to support and maintain toilets, public toilets in the downtown core, particularly MLK Way. We have many unhoused neighbors in that area because that's where the services are for unhoused people in our city, and their most basic hygiene needs are not met the majority of the hours of the day. And that leaves them tragically and with no dignity having to take care of their toileting needs out in public, which then they are, scorned and stigmatized and shamed and even ticketed for just attempting to take care of their most basic human needs. And I want to be part of a city that shows more respect and dignity to our most vulnerable citizens. And so I'm really urging you to please set aside some money from this budget to take care of our most vulnerable neighbors downtown, and also to address the larger housing needs that Jane and Joe also talked about. Our housing is not affordable, and supporting developers to build more luxury apartments is not solving that problem. It's not making affordable housing available for the majority of the people who live here, who have lived here and want to remain living here and are being priced out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Marwan Cameron.
Good evening, Council. How are you doing this evening? Reiterate what was already spoken by Jane, Joe, and Christy. I'm not going to go into the details there, but just to say that on October 26th, we will have many agencies that have committed to show up and have this discussion. So the Foundation of Poverty and Homeless Management with the Executive Director, Drayton Jackson, will be there. Salvation Army, Northwest Hospitality, Bremerton Housing Authority, Kitsap Community Resource, Kirsten Jewell from the county, and many others. I have reached out to a few of you who said that you will do your best to make it there. I hope to see the entire council, including you, Mayor Wheeler, and work on these problems. I'll leave it there, but the other thing that I wanted to say was another thing that we watch and we share out is REACT. And REACT is a very important entity that needs to persist and be supported by City Council and this body. Right now, there's a lot of issues that we are witnessing as we watch them fight, oftentimes amongst each other. And unfortunately, it seems like they're pitted against each other to do the work that they have been called to do. So I'm asking all of the council to step up and to support REACT, because it is important that we have that going forward. And they really do need to be a part of selecting who is going to be that DE&I representative that has the mayor's ear. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Cameron, do you want to just state the time and location of the meeting on the 26th?
Absolutely. It is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it is at New Horizon Ministries, 4040 Wheaton Way, Suite 203, right here in Bremerton, right next to that KFC there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, on Craig Patty.
Thank you, President Goodnow, City Council. It's great to hear some of these comments about our current issues downtown MLK Way. And as you look through the budget that the mayor is proposing, I would ask that you keep in mind one of your vital resources that is on the front lines of helping those individuals out is your fire and EMS professionals within the City of Bremerton Fire Department. Not only do we have some big city issues in our small city, but we're compounding those issues with significant failures within our community medical center. St. Michael's Medical Center has been well documented. So as you move forward, I would humbly ask that you keep those on the forefront of your decisions coming up, and realize that while there's so many groups out there wanting to help, wanting to be put into action, we do have a group of first responders who are right there today responding to everyone's emergencies, and the burden is only increasing. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public recognition? All right, seeing none, we will close recognition. All right, next we'll move to general business.
General business item 6A, contract modification agreement number 1 with SCJ Alliance for design of the Warren Avenue Bridge pedestrian improvements project. Our presenter is engineering project manager Vicki Grover.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Vicki Grover, and I tonight would like to talk to you about the Warren Avenue Bridge pedestrian improvements project. So I'm going to start with my agenda item, which is a modification to the current contract. It's modification number 1. We're going to follow up with a project update presentation. After the presentation, we will take questions. So the agenda item again is a contract modification number 1 with SCJ Alliance for the feasibility analysis. Next slide. Modification will extend the contract term through February of 2023. It adds additional scope that includes the addition of 5 more alternatives to the original scope that was 4 alternatives. Part of this addition of the alternative includes structural analysis, conceptual design, and cost estimations. We're also conducting additional coordination meetings with other agencies, as well as increased public outreach, level of effort, such as changing to in-person meetings from virtual meetings. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce Aaron Knight with SCJ Alliance. Next slide, please.
Yes, evening, Council President Goodnow and members of the City Council. As Vicki mentioned, my name is Aaron Knight with SCJ Alliance, and appreciate the opportunity to provide a brief update on our project status of where we've been and where we're going. So just to recap our project schedule thus far, the project kicked off in September of 2021 with the establishment of an interactive project website. I checked today and we have over 550 unique viewers now. If you recall, last week it was 500, so we've still got traction, which is great. And I would invite anyone to view the website. It's warrenavbridgeproject.com. Following the setup of the project website, we did our first presentation to the Complete Streets Committee in November of 2021. Moving forward, after the first of the year, we established our stakeholder advisory group, which held its first meeting on February 4th of 2022. From there, we distributed a survey to the members of our stakeholder group. As you may be aware, that survey was extraordinarily popular. Our intended 35 responses resulted in over 700 responses. So as a result of that, we held stakeholder meeting number 2 at the end of March to present the results of that survey to our stakeholders and seek their input on how they wanted to move forward, given that additional input. They directed us to move forward with the analysis of some of the alternatives. As Vicki mentioned, there were 4 identified in the original scope of work. And in September 12th, just a month ago, we presented the results of the first analysis to our stakeholders in stakeholder meeting number 3. And then I'm going to talk to you in a little more detail. So the green part there of refining alternatives and selecting the preferred alternative, we'll get in here in a little bit. So next, please. So just to put a visual to what our process is here, we're taking the now 9 total alternatives that have been established and are working through an initial screening where we're looking at structural feasibility and maintenance considerations. And this is with a tremendous amount of coordination with the state DOT, since they are the owner and they are in charge of maintenance of the structure. So just completing that step is where we are now. Our next steps will be to refine our alternatives further, given the goals and objectives of the project, and then ultimately establishing a recommended alternative. Next slide, please. So this is recapping what occurred during our September 12th meeting with the stakeholder advisory group. We provided a presentation on the fatal flaws, as I spoke to previously, so that were not structurally feasible or those that were not maintainable. And again, this is through coordination with the DT. So that reduced us down from 9 to 4 alternatives. Next slide, please. So this is now looking forward to where our next stakeholder advisory group meeting is going to be to review the goals and objectives of the project. We utilized the survey from the spring to really capture some themes about what was important to the respondents. And so we put together some drafts of what some goals and objectives are from the feedback that we saw. And we want to run those by our stakeholders to confirm that those are true and correct, and how we want to refine the alternatives. And then we will also work with our stakeholders to confirm the evaluation criteria. This is looking at things like safety, user comfort, construction impacts, cost, all of these different components of the project. So really, our stakeholder advisory group, I keep mentioning it because they are a critical part of the development of this project. So once we do that, we're going to host open house number 1. And so based on the results of the goals and objectives and the criteria and kind of how we're looking at working this funnel here, we're going to host our first open house and seek public feedback on that, because we want to make sure that in addition to our folks who are our stakeholders, that we're also capturing a broader audience as well. And so we will seek feedback and provide that information to the public. Next slide, please. So now looking forward beyond that, our 5th stakeholder meeting is going to provide a recommendation of a preferred alternative. So based on what we hear during the meeting number 4 of the goals, objectives, and criteria, we're going to take that back and we're going to test each of our different alternatives against that, those parameters, and provide a recommendation of a preferred alternative. However, it will ultimately be up to our stakeholders to agree or not, or select a different alternative, or seek feedback on our recommendation there. Based on that, we will then go back to the public and host community open house number 2, where we will again be seeking feedback from the community. And then ultimately, the effort will conclude with a resolution that we will bring to council in seeking the preferred alternative. Next slide, please. So again, just to recap, so fall 2022 through the first quarter of 23 is kind of a linear progression here, as demonstrated on this slide, with a number of outreaches to our stakeholder advisor group and the community. Next slide, please. And then we wanted to zoom out here and provide a final recap of the overall project schedule. So, we've been discussing the feasibility and alternatives analysis up until this point, which again, we expect to conclude in the first quarter of next year. From there, the project will move into permitting and design. And we wanted to demonstrate this specifically because of the third row there of pursuing additional funding. So as noted in some of our challenges here, all of the alternatives that we're looking at currently exceed the budget of the project and the grant funding that the project has already received. And so we want to use the beginning of design when we can be working on some other things in parallel, like some of the permitting, for instance. We want to use that opportunity to pursue additional funding. And just because of the way the cycles work, we expect that funding would likely become available in mid-2024. So demonstrating that we're anticipating this and planning to secure that funding well during design, well before the anticipated construction period in 2026 to 2027. Now, that being said, we are also considering perhaps if we are not able to receive additional funding, looking at phasing the project or keeping our options open as far as how we want to structure that. So next slide, please. So with that, I think we'd open it up to any questions, please.
All right, thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on any of these items? And anybody online? All right, seeing none, we will go to the council for a motion. Councilmember Coughlin.
Thank you, Council President. I move to approve contract modification agreement number 1 to the agreement with SCJ Alliance for design of the Warren Avenue Bridge pedestrian improvements project and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the agreement with substantially the same terms and conditions as presented.
Second the motion.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Do we need discussion? Yeah, I think we should open for discussion. So my cheat sheet. Okay, so we'll open for discussion. Actually, I'll defer to Councilmember Coughlin, who made the motion.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Council President. Good now. I'll keep it brief. Thank you so much, Ms. Groover and Mr. Knight, for the presentation and really the public update for just informing people on the process. It's not a small project at all. I know it's been a huge amount of work, but I really appreciate that work and the public outreach. I know it's going to impact pretty much everyone in the city. It's a vital connection for the Bridge Trail and accessibility for all parts of the city. And, hopefully more than just a way for people to get from A to B, but a destination for people on their daily walks or bike rides. I really love that we're exploring a ton of options. I think this contract extension is well worth it to make sure that we've explored every possible option so that we really get the best design possible. And I'm glad to see, I think as we discussed in study session, that a lot of those individual components will be broken down by cost. So hopefully we can get community feedback on all those components and to help prioritize what meets the community needs according to all the planning documents and other guidelines we're following. So thanks for breaking those down. And yeah, for anyone tuning in, encourage you to attend the public meetings, stare at the maps, give your feedback. You can always email City Council or go to the website for more information at any time. If you can't make the meeting, you can write in everything from this will impact my daily walk to I really like this option, or just any thoughts you have, and spread the word for others to attend as well. So thanks again for your presentation.
Vice President Chamberlain.
I'm looking forward to this project, first of all, because, well, we know there's been a lot of problems with the bridge, it cuts, I know that, Councilmember Fry and I, that's our district, right? Like it comes to our district and, folks want to feel safe walking on this. And I think that, we really talked about it in depth in the study session, and I just appreciate that you came with all the knowledge you did, and that there's so much community input into that. That's really all. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Muckler.
Thanks. So
I too would like to say thank you so much, because you're incorporating even more community input than you had planned to. First with the 70 million responses you got on the first go round, some number similar to that. Yeah. But then again, on this one, when there was a desire for more community input, you just went, okay. And this whole thing is actually not just providing opportunities for community input, but you've shown that in things like in the initial go round, when the community said, hey, we'd like the pedestrians and the cyclists to be separated, you went, okay, that's an interesting idea. Let's put that into the mix. So that's a really welcome outlook on your part. So thank you very much. Excellent presentation. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else with comments or questions? Okay, with that, I call for the question.
Councilmember Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
President Goodnow.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Next up, we'll have brief council reports. Since this is the last council meeting of the month, we will start with District 7, Councilmember Eric Younger.
Thank you, and I assume you all can hear me. And if so, I see the thumbs up, I can see you. I'm happy to report that this hybrid council meeting is a success. Not only can I participate, I am not currently in Bremerton tonight, but most importantly, the public could participate. You could either show up in person, or as you saw, we had several calls in over Zoom. So I'm happy to report this was not an option pre-COVID. In fact, in our council rules procedures, we had specific limitations even for telephonic participation by a council member, only on extremely important votes, usually something to do with parks or something. So I'm happy to report that this is an option, and I will be attending live for the most part, but I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to participate tonight remotely. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, District 6, Councilmember Anna Mochler.
Hey, good evening. I'm really happy to be here. I just have to lead with that. I am happy and honored and thrilled, and you can add many adjectives. In my district over the past few weeks, the principal things that people have reached out to me about are road conditions and off-leash dogs. And one of the things that's happening is that Kitsap Humane, which takes care of our off-leash dogs, is working from Kingston down to Gig Harbor. And like everyone else, they're having a tough time finding staff. If I had a solution to off-leash dogs, I would be presenting it now. I do not, however, I'm just giving you this update. Another concern is now that school is back in session, is kids being able to cross the road safely, being able to get to school safely. This council and this administration have worked really hard on the safe routes to school. That is working in many, many places. And I'm hoping that we can also get it to work around West Hills, where there's that unfortunate conjunction of city and county, and so it means there have to be extra meetings. That's something really dear to my heart after watching little kids scamper across National Avenue. You know, and the colder and wetter and darker it gets, the tougher that's going to be. So I'm really happy that people are working on that, and I hope it comes to a resolution soon. To respond to Joe Walter, this is something I've been thinking about the opportunities that are available. This is going to be a long, hard, cold, wet winter for a lot of people. A lot of people are spending more money than they expected to on gas, on food, on all kinds of things. there are opportunities here in Bremerton and in Kitsap to help. Kitsap Community Resources has a number of good advisors and who can help you tailor things for your situation. But I'll also tell you that if you're a senior, you can not only get 40% off on your water bill, your City of Bremerton water bill, you can also get sugar. I think it's 50% off on your property taxes, should you own property. And you can get a discount on waste management. So there are opportunities to save money and also opportunities to find help. Puget Sound Energy has programs to give money to people who need it. How am I doing on time? Okay. And so do Kitsap Community Resources. People have gotten direct grants of cash or money to help them with their utility bills. So that's something that's out there. And I'm happy to be able to give some more publicity to that because being cold is just lousy. It makes you stupid and it makes you ill. So I hope that anyone who's hearing me can take advantage of these programs. For the rest of it, thank you all. Very happy to be here in front of you.
Thank you. Next, District 4 Council Member Quinn Dennehy.
Thank you, President Goodnow. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody that showed up in person tonight. It's really nice to see you. I'm not getting picked up, sorry. Can you hear me now? There it is. All right. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that showed up in person tonight. It's very nice seeing your face in the audience. I want to say thank you especially to the staff that did everything behind the scenes to make a hybrid meeting possible so that we can get the most community participation as possible. The budget is coming out tonight. I love hearing from this community because constantly what we hear from this community is what are we doing about affordable housing? What are we doing about race and social justice? What are we doing about our most vulnerable citizens? And we need that pressure on us. And we need that as we start our most, in my opinion, our most important job as council members, and that is distributing taxpayer funds for the next fiscal year. So I hope to see many people at workshops, at our next council meetings as we go through November. I hope to see lots of emails and inboxes because I want to be informed as to what the community prioritizes. I think that is it for me, but I really appreciate everybody that came out today. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Next, District 3 Council Member Jeff Coughlin.
All right, let me echo Councilmember Dennehy's comments on the huge gratitude for staff for getting this set up. Seems to be working awesome, and for everyone for being here. This will be a great mode going forward. And I got a few slides tonight, and while those load, I just want to say I was away for 2 weeks on travel. It made me appreciate Bremerton even more. Being in Arizona, the water was barely drinkable from the tap. And Texas, I'm not sure if they even paved the roads at all. So thank you to our public works for, it really puts it in perspective. Quite excellent in the city here. Quick fun thing I want to highlight, downtown Bremerton Trick or Treat. Sorry, I forgot the date on there, but October 31st starts at 4 p.m. downtown. I think it's technically the 25th or 26th annual, but things got a little mixed up there in COVID. So either way, come on down. All the businesses usually hand out candy. It was a fun time last year. And then I got 2 items here talking about ferries and hospitals. I normally try and stick to my district, which this affects, but it's definitely a broader issue. So I met again with the Bremerton Ferry Coalition, which was formed recently. Is the airing frustrations on the lack of ferry service. I met with them last month as well. And this time around, it was really about sharing stories and focusing on the impacts. And we heard about a single mother who was going to Seattle for cancer treatment, not able to do it over here. And she's juggling trying to undergo chemo while finding childcare, and is running into issues with ferry reliability, not knowing if she'd be able to make it or not and make it back to her kids. A lot of small business folks were just saying what an impact it's been on our city's economic development, missing out on some tourism this summer and concerns going forward. And then obviously the equity issues with Bremerton being a working class city, one of the lowest per capita, of the major cities on the peninsula, and the impact there. And, they stress it certainly helps we have the fast ferries to fill the gaps, but they're really looking for the regular ferries, to get fixed in the long term. So next slide. What I've been looking at is these ferries updates from WSF. And I think the frustrating part to me is that this is a regular update they send every, I think it's bi-weekly, on the reliability of the ferry route. So you can see that for San Juan's and Bainbridge, the reliability is over 95%. Bainbridge is always about 100 or 99. So that means that all of their sailings have been, on time and as scheduled. And then you look at Bremerton is continually the lowest. So even with a one boat service and a lack of sailings, our reliability is still only 53%. So that means that only about half the time is our one boat even completing a sailing or getting there on time. And this is, I think, the most frustrating part. So what I want to do is I'm drafting a letter to send to WSF and the governor, and I would love to run it by next week by council to see if anyone wants input or to sign on, and mayor as well if you wish. And so I actually, let me take a second to really thank you, Mayor, for leading the charge on asking for state funding for the fast ferries, because I think that really is vital, and helping to fill the gaps here in people. I know definitely appreciate it. But I want to push on this reliability metric because I think it maybe made sense when we thought service stored by now. But at this point, if we're not expecting service restoration until next summer, keeping Bremerton at 50% reliability while Bainbridge gets all their sailings on time, I just don't think it's right. So I want to write in and speak up on that and represent the people that are frustrated. Next slide is addressing the kind of healthcare crisis at St. Michael's. I think anyone keeping up with the Kitsap Sun has seen so many headlines in the past couple of weeks with nurses having to call 911 for support. Thank you to our city and county firefighters for filling in. Staffing shortages, directors leaving. They had obviously, IT security issues. And even on the bottom right there, you can see issues with their accreditation. So I previously mentioned the council. I've met with UW Multicare to see if there's anything that we can do to help bring in additional providers. I'll be poking them for some updates shortly, as it was going to take them a couple months to work on some stuff. I mentioned a study session. I reached out to the Association of Washington Public Health Districts. They wrote back and they're happy to meet with a handful of us. So I'll run that by staff to see if less than a quorum of us are willing to meet with them to get information. And then finally, I'm in touch with somebody who helped organize public health districts for Orcas and Lopez Island and is happy to brief us on a bit of the process. So I'll keep council up to date on that as well. And hopefully we can just get information. That's a very long process, but I like exploring all the options to see what we can do in partnership with everyone across the county. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all that information. Next up, District 2 Council Member Denise Fry.
Thank you, President Goodnow. Safe Routes to School is coming to View Ridge Elementary in District 2. We're very excited about that. It's in alignment with my grand vision for a new park. So we are excited about that. I know that there are other schools that are in need of this project, and I would be very supportive to make sure that every school enjoys safe routes. I really appreciate Councilmember Coughlin's ability to raise a couple of big issues, and those are the problems with our emergency care and ER services. The Ferry Coalition, I think, some of us need to have our cars when we go across. We have grandchildren or, athletic equipment or whatever. We need to be able to access the car ferries. So putting pressure in both avenues is very much appreciated. And Mayor, you've been at the front of that fight. So thank you very much. I really hope that the budget, nothing is going to happen at St. Michael's to change that situation enough in the near future. And I hope that the city is using whatever resources that it has to help mitigate that. And thank you very much to Craig Patty, who called in tonight on behalf of the fire department personnel. And then I just saw the county is doing a Operation Greenlight for veterans. All the county buildings are going to be in green from November 7th to 13th. And I thought, gosh, that's a wonderful thing to do with the county, you know? If we could just get Norm Dix in green. And you know what? Maybe the county has just a few extra foils for those lights. So it'd be great if we could just call over there and find out who's in charge. Maybe find out the number of lights we have that need those green foils. I'd volunteer to help put them on. But with us being a Navy town, I think it'd be great if we could be in alignment with that. I know it was their idea first, Mayor, but sometimes an idea is just too good to let go by. So that's it for me tonight.
Thank you very much. Next, Council District 1, Council Vice President Jennifer Chamberlain.
Thank you, President Goodnow. Thank you to my fellow council members for your patience as I learn how to operate up here. This is all of our first time up here, except, well, Michael's been up here, but in a different role. So raising your hand, turning the light on, we'll see how it goes. We'll figure this out together, though. Sheridan Road is still closed, and while it's super inconvenient for me to get my morning coffee, if a Cafe Perfetto, I have to take the long route. I know that in the long run, those upgrades are going to be a benefit to my neighbors. So it's still closed right about at Robin, right about by the church. But it's given me an opportunity to go into my neighborhoods that I was walking during my campaign and get to revisit those neighborhoods. Point of clarification, and I hope it's okay that I do this. The nurse at Harrison, I'm sorry, I call it Harrison, but it's St. Michael's. I'll always call it Harrison. But she didn't actually call 911. You know what she did? She actually called a backdoor number because our firefighters, our EMTs, have been offering services to St. Michael's for months and months, and they've been giving them their cards. They've been giving them this information so that if there's anything that they can do to assist, but the administration has turned down this help time and time again. So this brave nurse, probably at risk of worrying about losing her job, went ahead and called this backdoor number that she had to get a hold of somebody from the CK firefighters to come and help. And they did. They came and they did some of the dirty work for the nurses so the nurses could do that critical care. When we think about public health, when we think about public safety, we really do need to give major props to our EMTs and our firefighters right now. They're going through a lot and managing all the caseloads, the increased caseloads that are occurring. And also we definitely know about all the difficulties of our failing healthcare system. So as we move into this very first budget discussion for most of us sitting here, I want to echo Councilmember Fry's sentiments that we need to really think about using those resources that we have to mitigate it as a stopgap, some of the issues that have been occurring to keep our citizens safe. I think that really kind of sums it up for me. Thanks, and have a good night.
Thank you. I want to again thank Jim and Catherine for participating tonight and stepping up to help the city. I also want to thank the Boy Scouts of America for being here today. Congrats again to our wastewater treatment staff. And again, I want to echo what a couple council members said is thank you to all the staff. There's many more than are even in this room that helped make this work. So it's exciting that we can now allow remote input and public comment, and clearly it was needed tonight. So again, thanks to everybody who helped make us be able to do an in-person meeting, including everybody who came out to participate and do that. So I'm just grateful we got through this. All right. A reminder that there are 3 budget workshops that will be held here in the first 4 meeting chambers beginning at 3 p.m. Those will be on Monday, October 24th, Tuesday, October 25th, and then on Thursday, October 27th, all at 3 p.m. in this room. The next study session will also be held here in the first 4 meeting chambers next Wednesday, October 26th, beginning at 5 p.m. As always, the public is welcome to attend any of these meetings. Lastly, I'd like to wish an early happy birthday Council Member Denise Fry, who will celebrate next Saturday, October 22nd. We are about to go into an executive session where we expect no action, and we will pretty much just come back from that after 20 minutes and adjourn the meeting. So council members will now meet for an executive session for 20 minutes to discuss pending and potential litigation as allowed under RCW 42-30-110-1I. No action is anticipated.
Recording stopped.
All right. So I guess we'll stop it there since they're just going to come back and adjourn. That was the first city council meeting, hybrid, coming back. I hope that they do decide to continue this hybrid format so that folks that can't physically be there can make their voices heard. I'm also glad to hear that Goodnow at least asked for the address. And so we will see how many of them show up on October 26th. I do hope that it is all of them to work on these issues. But we need to keep the pressure on, especially during budget time. We have an opportunity. The cynic in me, it feels like, how much can we really get? Is the budget a foregone conclusion for 23? But we still have to push forward. The good thing is that I think we have the opportunity to set an infrastructure to keep a watchful eye on city council and the mayor going forward. And so as we rally more people, it'd be a lot easier to hold them accountable and steer them into the direction of we the people of Kitsap County. So as always, doesn't matter if they're my issues or they're even issues that are polar opposite than mine. Please make your voice heard. That is democracy. We are here for it. It's one of the reasons why I broadcast these meetings, these city council meetings. Too many of us are too busy trying to survive to look up and see what's being done. Many of us have been so disenfranchised from politics, from local all the way up to the presidency, to feel like what difference is it going to make? But it can, and it will. And we see that when the voices become many, they begin to respond. So let's just keep our foot on the gas, continue to advocate in regards to those on ML King. Winter is coming. For those of you that may not know, I have a transportation company and we contract with the county. So we're the agency that provides rides to those to the severe weather shelter once the temperatures dip. So this population of folks is very important to me. It would be great if we weren't transporting anyone because they were sheltered. Unfortunately, that is not the reality. And so we need to advocate for bathrooms and showers and hygiene and, laundry services and everything else, all the way up to housing. So that's what we're going to do. And then, for me, for REACT, racial equity is also important. And you can have, again, a multitude of issues. Shout out to the gentleman who went on after me and talked about the hospital. I wish I had thought of that. But they had 3 minutes and I didn't think about it. So another important thing, right? That's terrifying. If you get sick, if you get hurt, are you going to be able to get the service that you need? And when it comes to emergency health, time is often critical, right? And so we need to get health care immediately, and it needs to be quality and not from staff that are burnt out and stressed out and feel underappreciated by their own employer. So lots of things to advocate about. So we will keep it up. Again, this pancake breakfast is next week on Wednesday, October 26th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 4040 Wheaton Way, Suite 203. We do ask that you RSVP at G2 Housing at housing@gmail.com. Again, that's G2 housing@gmail.com. Now, to be clear, this isn't a point and chastise. This is a solutions meeting, right? We know what the issues are. We know what we believe that the city and the mayor hasn't done. We know what maybe we believe the county could do more on, or some of the agencies that are in this sector. But we want to be solutions oriented. We want to come up with the answers, whether it's porta potties being burnt down or folks locking themselves in. How do we overcome that? Or staffing, through the night so people can actually use the restroom, in a humane way and not out in the bushes, and, just in a humane way, and period, full stop. So that is what that is about. We are going to feed y'all pancakes, sausage, hash browns. I think my cook wants to make omelets. So I guess we're kicking it up a notch. So it should be just going to try treat people the way that we want to be treated and answer these hard questions. We are better together. As Akuye says, shout out to her, many hands make light work. So let's make this work light. But this work is important. And while it is a nice day out, it is quickly getting cold. All right, I guess that is it for me. Whew, Wednesdays are the long days. Podcast after podcast after podcast. We will be back, I believe, Friday, unless I, catch a bug and decide to do a night show. I haven't done one in a while. I need to pull the hoodie out. So, man, there might be a hoodie show coming soon. Wink, wink. All right, y'all. I'm Marwan Cameron. This is the Conduit Network. This was the City Council meeting, October 19, 2022. See you next.